Let's get more now from Michael Arunga, Communications Advisor at World Vision, here in studio with us. Thank you, Michael, for coming. You just got back from Malakal. How's the situation there?
I would describe it as terrible, the humanitarian catastrophe, in terms of the numbers of those who are desperate. I spent time within the United Nations compound in Malakal with other humanitarian organizations, and we had about 28,000 internally displaced people within that compound. And they had little food, there was no water, you know, issues around sanitations, deplorable. I also had a chance to go over into town, and went over to the St. Joseph's Catholic Church, which also had some displaced people. The Malakal Teaching Hospital, where there were more displaced people as a result of the conflict. I would say that the conditions are not good, and it's important to be able to reach out and support. That is the scenario that sufficed. And then also when I was there, there were sounds of shooting, and a scenario in which, you know, just a lot of mayhem, people running all over in terms of trying to be able to find secure locations. But then also, I think critical is the number of people who have been killed, bodies strewn all over Malakal town, women, children, men, in uniform. Those are the scenario that I can paint to you in terms of what transpired within Malakal.
You talked about gunshots. So who's in control of Malakal? Is it government forces or the rebels?
It is difficult to say exactly who is in control, because you cannot actually go out and take an audit of who is killing who. But what I can confirm is that we had gunshots, and at some point we had to flee into, my colleagues had to flee into a bunker to be able to take a refuge. But then there are armed soldiers who are driving all over the town, but then it's difficult to be able to know exactly who's
in government and who the rebels are.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So then how are the humanitarian agencies operating there? How are they getting back?
Thanks. We've reached out with the life-saving interventions, distributed food, to about 31,000 people. That's World Vision reached out and distributed that amount of food to displaced people. We've also reached out with non-food items like mosquito nets, try to construct some latrines, and be able to help them access clean water, because the conditions are deplorable.
How difficult is it, sorry to cut you short, but
yes,
how difficult is it for you people to carry out your activities in Malakal?
It is not easy, and as I've shared, actually, the numbers that I'm giving are localized to the United Nations missions compound within Malakal. But then we have 800,000 people that are displaced all over South Sudan, and that's a huge number. The government is keen, actually, to have a scenario go back to the way it used to be. I was there for the independence. I saw the euphoria. I saw the excitement.
I know, I remember that. It's really sad to see them now get into this situation.
Yes. So there's keenness, I think, to be able to get back to, you know, a peaceful kind of South Sudan. But then the fighting is ongoing. It's a sad state of affairs. And for us, it's difficult, actually, to be able to reach out to areas outside Malakal, because you need, you know, security to be able to access. And as human beings, although we're trying to reach out with the life-saving interventions, we are human beings, and you can get killed. Nobody wants to get killed out there. We need to be able to ensure that security suffices, and that we can be able to access those who are desperate. What
is it the internally displaced people there in Malakal need the most?
Most critical is the basics, the essentials of life, like food, water, and there's a crisis in the making, this form of, you know, the weather. We're expecting the rains. It's not right now dry, the day is hot, and the night's very cold, but then with the rains coming forth, there's a possibility of outbreak of diseases like cholera, given the sanitation conditions and so forth. But then food and water is critical, but high on the agenda is peace. It's important to have a peaceful environment so that other interventions can take forth.
Okay, Mike, thanks you very much for joining us. Michael Arunga, the World Vision, with us here in studio.